Okay, this one comes up a fair bit, and it's how can you check the Ciro baby loop or the Ciro MIDI loop to see if it's actually working. Now, the simple down and dirty way of doing this, typical sort of radio 7300 here. I've set it in CW mode, and don't worry about the frequency yet, but on the actual control pad I will press the /, put that in manual mode, and it's now asking for a frequency. I'm going to put in 7100, and you'll see here that we've now got, this is now transmitting in 7100, and it's just displaying a random SWR. What we're doing is we're testing the box to make sure that the box is working okay. So if we come over to the display on the 7300, and also if you don't have a display, don't worry, if you set the radio in CW, bring this over, you should hear the tone. Typically that should be on 7100, so we now know that the RF generator in this is working, and it sounds quite smooth. It's actually quite a good sine wave. So we can now take this out by pressing the /, and that is pretty much a down and dirty check to see whether this is actually functioning. Now, one of the other issues that has been sort of reported is that people are taking the antenna connection, if I can get this out one-handed, okay, and then what they're doing is they're then taking a multimeter and then measuring between the center pin and the outer and getting a dead short. That's not how things work. They will always show as a dead short, because we then look over here to the actual I'm running this at the moment with a MIDI loop. You'll see that this is the feeder going in, okay, and then the outer goes to the body. Pretty much one side of the loop goes off one side, and then it's bridged over here and then goes off to the other side. The center pin is then matched with a delta match. Here, this is the delta match, this piece of thing here, and actually then is welded to the other side of the loop. Now, with with basically your RF, this shows as 50 ohms, but with DC, this shows as a dead short, because it is a dead short, and that is what's happening there. The other thing, a lot of the issues that people have seem to be that their motor light seems to do something random, and then it comes up no motor fail, and then that's telling you that the SWR is far too high for the antenna to tune, so it can't get a satisfactory match. Now that's usually down to where the antenna is located, so move the antenna, number one, check your feeders and make sure that the feeders are okay. Now what I've done here is I've got some standard old RG8, it's Italian made RG8, that's all it is. It's just simple coax, but it's just, it's made well, and it's 6 foot length. It's a good test sort of thing. Use the original power supply that comes with it, which is 24 volts, and make sure that you're running on the latest firmware. Now, just for jazz, I will update the firmware for you at the same time. So if I disconnect the power connector from the back, you see that, pull that out the back. I'm going to disconnect the connection for the keyboard, and I'm going to put in this case it's supplied that thing, but I've put the latest test file on here, downloaded from Ciro, from their website, and all I'm going to do is plug that in, and you'll see that the display will flash, and it says upgrading, upgrading, and then it asks you to remove it. And from that point on, it should come up with keyboard fail, something along those lines. So we've got the latest firmware, which is 4.11, and then we're back to operating. So that is a very simple, down and dirty way of checking whether or not this is functioning. And what I'll probably do is, in one of the shorts or something, I'll show you just how narrow the bandwidth is on this, what the queue is basically. And just before I go, just one last thing. Please make sure that when you set this up, so if you press the minus button, it goes into the set mode. You then use the plus and minus buttons here to then change through those different things. So I'm going to set the antenna type. You should be able to sort of press enter, and it says auto detect. In this case, I'll say yes. All I've done is press enter, and it's now going to do a frequency scan, and the antenna will trot through a range of motions. Okay, and then it comes down here and it will say that it's been set and it's picked a baby stealth loop, and it says that everything's okay. And then it'll try and tune to the nearest frequency. So you can see that it's tuned to the lowest frequency there, which is 6,600 kilohertz, which is 6.6 megs, and it's telling me I've got an SWR of 1.4, which isn't bad because you're in the middle of a workshop here, and it's, at the moment we're quite busy, so there's like bits and pieces everywhere, and it's concrete sort of steel reinforced floor, so I doubt very much it's particularly happy here. So there you have it. So now we should, in theory, be able to press the star key, set the frequency, we'll say 7500, enter, and that should now go through a little tune cycle, and away you go. Just a little point, while it's doing this, under no circumstances transmit the radio, because you will blow the RF generator sky high. It's probably one of the biggest fail points on these, is when someone's actually transmitted into the radio port while it's trying to tune, which doesn't do any favours. The other one is transmitting too close to the loop antenna. Just so that you know, this is actually quite a sensitive piece of kit. Inside here you've got something like a noise bridge, and what that does is it then sends all the SWR data to a motor controller, which will then open and close the motor, so that the SWR is then sort of set, if you like. We've had it where people have transmitted far too close to the loop antenna, and we end up with quite high voltages present at the inside basically the unit itself from transmitted power, and what will happen then is it damages the radio basically in here, and that's no good at all. The other thing to bear in mind is that any coiled cables, any other antennas nearby, they need to be, coiled cables need to be kept to an absolute minimum, and any extra antennas need to be as far away as possible, probably at least half a wavelength. So if it's a 40 meter antenna, it needs to be 20 meters away. So there you have it. So until next time, bye bye.